let's talk about this news. Let's talk about this news from Ali Gold. Ali Gold understands Spurs have sounded out Jesse Lingard's camp about a potential move to North London. And he's also put some thoughts about potentially Stephen Bergwijn exit in his article as well. But on the face of things, what's your opinions on Jesse Lingard, and would you accept him at Spurs?
Look, I've shit on Lingard quite a lot in the past, especially when he was going through his bad form at Man United a few years ago. Obviously, last year at West Ham, he had a fantastic loan spell for 6 months. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, I must say. He very nearly made the Euro squad. He was very unlucky to miss out on that based on his amazing form. And it made people think, maybe there's still life in Lingard's career. He's not young anymore. I think, 29 now, is he?
Yeah,
he's getting
28.
Yeah. So he's not young, but he showed at West Ham he's still got a lot of potential. And actually this season at Man United, even though he's not been a first choice or a starter that often, whenever actually I've seen him play, he's actually been quite good. I've noticed, but he just hasn't been able to nail down a spot. Rangnick hasn't fancied him at all. I don't think he's featured at all under Rangnick, has he? So shows how he's valued at Man United. Look, if he's a cheap stopgap deal now, I find it hard to get excited about it. But on the face of it, it is a fairly smart move, I guess. He's versatile. He can play in a few positions. He would, if we brought him and Adama in, then all of a sudden you do have a replacement for Bergwijn, and you have a player who has shown in the last year at least that he can score goals at this level still. He got eight or nine in the second half of last season?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So he scored quite a few. So 6 months left on his deal. See, this is a different one when it comes to him signing him now as opposed to later, because whereas with Kessie, he's still a valuable member of the Milan squad. It's going to be harder to prize him away right now, and he might be less willing to go right now because there might be more offers. With Lingard, it's a choice between coming now or sitting on the bench for 6 months, whereas Kessie's going to be playing football. So that would be more easier to convince and easier to come now than someone like Kessie would. So he could be a cheap deal we could get now.
Does he get a guaranteed starting spot in our squad?
No, definitely not. But he does nowhere near guaranteed. But he can play. He can play in a 3 in the midfield. He can play in a 3 up top. He can play on the left or the right.
3 in midfield.
No, but he can play. I don't want him there, but he can. But he's versatile. He can play there. For example, I don't want Dele there, but he can play there. You know what I mean? So I think on the face of it, it's a smart move. Could be cheap, but I would rather look for other players first, if possible. But I guess if it's a cheap, I guess I'm not going to be against it. According to Samuel Luckhurst, though, who's just talked about it, he said sources close to Lingard do not expect him to leave this January. So that's what he's saying.
For one, I wouldn't want to sign him this January. I'd give him a shot at a loan move or something like that. But to sign him, I'm not too sure about that. I think we need to be setting our sights a bit higher than Jesse Lingard. And yes, Jesse Lingard came in for West Ham last year and did well for a certain amount of games, but I still felt he tailed off towards the end of the season last year.
Towards the end, he did for the last few games. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, maybe even more than a couple of games. But look, Jesse Lingard is a good player. There's no two ways about it. But for what we're trying to achieve, top 4 and everything like that, to get back into the Champions League, I just feel like we just probably should be setting our sights a bit higher.
I completely agree.
But for a loan move from now to the end of the season, I think we should do that if that's the case.
Loan move, yeah. Would United agree to a loan move? Why would they give us to him for free? Basically,
yeah,
unless it's a significant loan fee, they'd probably want some sort of money.
Yeah,
probably as a permanent.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense for them to loan, because otherwise, might as well just keep him for an option for 6 months for them, because we're challenging them for the top 4.
Yeah.
So
obviously, even if it is a loan deal, you can't put an option in there because his
contract
runs out in 6 months.
So it would kind of have to be a permanent now, or we can't pre-contract. He's not a foreign player, so it's or wait. But I guess Ali Gold doesn't specifically say we want him now, does he? He says, if I read the article, it says Tottenham have made contact with Lingard's representatives over a potential move to North London. The 29-year-old is out of contract and someone has struggled for regular game time this season. The Hammers have been linked with trying to bring in England's international back to the London zone. However, Football London understands that Spurs have also sounded out Lingard's camp over potential move. His versatility means he can play on either flank or attacking midfield, or even as a striker to support Kane. No, don't even try and make him a striker. He would bolster Tottenham's homegrown British quota. That's a good point. Homegrown goes under the radar. We do need homegrown, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Lingard will be available for nothing in the summer, but it remains to be seen whether Spurs can move for him this month if United would be willing to sell to a top 4 rival.
That's the thing, because I think it was different. Last year, Man United were pretty much concealed in that top 4. West Ham were fighting for it, but there were no real danger to Man United last season. This year, we're actually a danger to Man United in terms of the top 4 fight. So, can you see them letting him go to us? I can't really see it, to be honest.
I actually can.
In what? Why?
Because they don't use him at all. He's a player who's come through their account. Like, it's a bit like how when what's his name? When Chelsea sold Czech to Arsenal. It's a bit like that. Like, because he's been there for so long, there's an element of respect there. And if that's what Lingard wants with 6 months left for a few million, they'll probably let him happen because they know he's leaving on a free anyway in the summer. Obviously, if it's a player who they use or anything like that, they might have a difference of opinion. But because he's, they don't really use him. They might see as a little bit of an opportunity to get a bit of money, and I can see them selling for a bit of money.
I mean, the only reason I say they won't do it is just because Spurs and United at the moment, as the league table sits, probably got as much chance as each other finishing in the top 4.
Correct.
In terms of points and stuff like that. So that's the only reason why I say they wouldn't do it, just because of their chances of top 4 this season. And if Jesse Lingard comes, maybe it doesn't dramatically increase our chances of getting top 4, but it definitely gives us more of a chance than now.
I'd probably rather not, but let's say Lingard really wants to move and no one else is in for him, I could see him agreeing to it.
Yeah, potentially. But they would probably push for the move more to, like, let's say if Newcastle come in or West Ham come in or something like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised the West Ham move hasn't materialised. But I also get to be thinking, why is it not materialised?
Yeah.
Why have West Ham, because obviously he had a great time there and apparently he's willing to go back there. So why do they not want him? Is the money not right? Like, why did that not happen? It's very strange. That's got a bit.
Maybe they're holding out to the end of his contract or something. I don't know.
Don't know, but it puts a few doubts in my mind. Like, surely if he was that good and they were that sure about him, that's an easy deal to do.
Yes, he was that good. He really was that good last season. He was one of the best players in the Premier League for that period.
Yeah, he was. No, he was brilliant. He was brilliant. But obviously they saw him day to day, right? They got to see him on training and everything. They could see him in and out. So maybe
something happened when he did tail off at the end of the season.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking it was just a patch of form and that was it. It wasn't exactly like he's that good. Maybe that's what they think, and because they see him day to day, they can know that. Whereas we're here thinking he's that good because we just see him on the pitch, let alone everything else. So I don't know. It's because surely if that form, right? If they were convinced that form represents how good he is, surely it would be a no-brainer. Just get him in if he's that good, and then you have him, and that deal could be done. But something that tells me that deal not being done is I don't know, something's there.
No, I kind of share your feelings on that one, but I've got a feeling that from now until the end of this window, you might hear more about West Ham and Jesse Lingard.
The thing is, as well, when it comes to here, when it's Samuel Luckhurst saying sources close to Lingard do not expect him to leave in January, I kind of feel like it's only worth it if we get him now. Do I want him on a free in the summer? I know, I'd rather
better targets in the summer, don't you?
He's kind of valuable in the short term. If Bergwijn goes, and then we can get him in, and he's kind of a short-term replacement, and then see how he does for 6 months on a maybe a 3-year deal, and whatever. If it doesn't work out, we can sell him. Then it works out. But when it gets to the summer, I know he's on a free, but I'd rather us really go for a proper target, because I know January is difficult, so it makes more sense to come in now. But to wait 6 months for getting him in, I wouldn't want him on a free in the summer, because all of a sudden you're thinking all of a sudden it's a transfer where you're using up a place that you could have gone and signed someone maybe better. Whereas right now, January is difficult, so I understand you can't always get what you want in January, so maybe he's a good option.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that's exactly what I kind of meant, what I was saying before.
The problem is that you can't really loan him. That's the problem. You kind of have to buy him. Yeah,
unless you buy him on like a short-term contract or something, but can't really see that happening either. I really can't see that happening.
Oh, it says they're claiming that have found out Lingard's camp over potential move in the summer, but that's not what the article said. I read the article. That's not what it said, is it?
No.
So that's what Tottenham Tears are saying. I don't know. That's not what.
Maybe
unless he's edited
from that somewhere.
Has he edited it? Let's see.
But anyway, look, the situation is there's no real situation. Spurs are making contact over Lingard. Tottenham Tears.
Oh yeah, here we go. Should stress, it says in the piece that it's currently with regard to a summer move. January move unlikely at this moment for Lingard as he becomes a free agent in the summer. So that's hard for me to get excited about.
To be honest, though, if Conte thinks he can get something out of Lingard, then I'm all for it. I really am all for it.
I'm not against.
If Conte thinks he can get something out of him.
I'm not against the deal, but if we're selling if we're selling Bergwijn, we should get him now.
Yeah.
This one, it makes more sense than Kessie to push to spend a little, get him now.
To be honest, I think about that with everyone. To be honest, if we want him, then just get him now. That's just how I feel about things.
It looks like might be one looking for the summer.
We'll have to see how it plays out. At the moment, the news is that Jesse Lingard Spurs have made contact apparently with Jesse Lingard's camp for a move in the summer. His contract is up in the summer. I want to know all your opinions about Jesse Lingard coming to Spurs. Me personally, I would like to see him from now to the end of the season, but further than that, I'm not too sure. But like I said, if Antonio Conte singles him out and thinks he can get a tune out of him and thinks he can consistently get good performances out of him, then I'm all for it. Let's be honest, he was, in the second half of the season last year, was one of the best players in the Premier League. He was.
Yeah,
so,
but we're talking about a summer move now, so...
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to get excited about like a summer move for a free agent, Jesse Lingard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But look, at the end of the day, Conte does have previous for these kind of signings, doesn't he? Like 28, 29, 30 years old, Premier League experience kind of signing, and he gets them playing well.
It says here, according to the Evening Standard, Spurs reluctant to allow Bergwijn to leave until they've signed a replacement. Ajax are going to return with a second offer. Tottenham want closer to 27 million.
So it's one in, one out, not one out, one in.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. That's good news, though, if that's true.
Yeah.